screen.
So in the past, Michael Sibbernsen has brought us neat demonstrations. So we asked him to stick around a little bit after that first segment off the top of the show.
That's right, and we're not sure what we're in for today, but we are certain it
Don't touch it.
has something to do with what's in this container, some liquid nitrogen.
Liquid nitrogen from the Strategic Air and Space Museum. Welcome back, Michael Sibbernsen.
Hey,
Good
guys.
to see you again.
Hey, Michael.
Great to be back.
Seems like you were
once
just
again.
here.
It does. Seems like just minutes.
What are we going to be doing here? Because you got some liquid nitrogen.
I do. You know, we've brought in, when we did our comet experiment, we brought in some dry ice. Very cold stuff. Is about negative 109 degrees Fahrenheit. This is 3 times colder. This is 320 degrees below zero. Here we have liquid nitrogen. Now, before you get kind of worried about nitrogen gas, believe it or not, 80% of the air that we're breathing right now is nitrogen, and it's carrying along that important 20% of oxygen that we need to
So what do
breathe
you
and
want to
live.
do? And then we've got some questions to sprinkle in along the way.
Well, I'll tell you, we're starting our Spring into Science activities out at the museum, and right now the theme is Spring into Science meets the 60s. So we'll be donning our tie-dye lab coats, and we'll be doing some real groovy experiments with light and sound, and then of course some super cool experiments like the one that I'm about to do right here with
one
our
of
liquid
these,
nitrogen.
the kids aren't getting this close to it, or are they? How do you get young ones
Well, more than likely, this is only going to be for actual demonstration purposes. So we were talking earlier about space, and of course, this is a good relationship to the cold of space. Here we have our liquid nitrogen inside here. Now, what's the coldest that you've ever experienced if you've gone outside?
30 below.
30 below. That's extremely cold, and probably not quite as cold as 30 below. But
no, not as cold as that.
This one is 320 degrees below zero, and it has some pretty interesting effects. I've got a rose.
Oh, it's Valentine's Day. You're not going to ruin that rose, are you?
Michael, I thought for a moment.
Such a gentleman.
We're going to use this for a little scientific experiment inside the cells here.
Do we need to put these? Do we need to put these on?
We are going to put them on.
This is a fresh rose.
This is a fresh rose for Valentine's Day. We have some water trapped in those cells, and of course, as you know, when water freezes, it turns into ice and it expands. We're going to go ahead and dip that inside. Let's don our glasses here, and I'm going to put on some gloves here to protect me from this cold. Let's dip that right inside there, and the moment we do,
there you go.
It starts to boil. You see, this liquid nitrogen is so cold that the air that we're breathing right now, it's like an oven to it. This surface here would be like a hot plate. If we were to pour this out, it'd be like pouring water on a griddle, and it would just bubble up. And
you can feel the cold come from the bucket.
Absolutely. And so we dip that inside for just a few moments.
It looks so eerie, that haze coming out of the bucket.
And what that is, that's water vapor being pulled out of the air. Oh, it still looks beautiful right now.
15, 20 seconds.
Take a look at this. That it is probably superconducting right now. What does that mean? Well, it's hard to see the fact that it's no longer has any resistance to electricity, but what we can do, I'm going to take this magnet, and when I bring this magnet near it, the force of gravity pushing it downward.
Oh, get out of town.
That's cool.
Get out of town. That's so cool.
It's just hovering.
It's just hovering there. It's inducing.
How does that do that?
This is what's happening. It's inducing a current inside of the superconducting material because it has an absence of resistance to the electricity. It produces a magnetic field that is
so cool.
An exact duplicate of the magnetic field that it's producing.
I'm looking behind it, underneath it, and it is suspended in air.
That is cool. So where do I get some liquid nitrogen? Can you get this stuff? Can I go down to Hy-Vee and pick some of this stuff up?
Unlike dry ice, this is something that's a little bit more difficult to see. Well, we've got to end on something fun here.
Okay.
So I've got my liquid nitrogen here. Let's go ahead and open this up.
I want to ask you about the science zone, too. I don't want to let you go without doing that.
Oh, we've got this area right now. People can come in and do some incredible activities inside of our new science zone. I've got a cracker here, and we're going to place the cracker into the liquid nitrogen. Now, this is kind of interesting because what's happening is that liquid nitrogen is permeating the cracker, but because of the insulative properties of the cracker and because of the fact that, and I'm just going to let that drain a little bit. Yeah. Now watch this.
That's nice.
How does the cracker, I didn't think about a cracker as having insulative properties, that it wouldn't shatter like the rose.
Well, it is shattering, but it's got all that air trapped in there. I'll tell you what.
How's it taste?
All you need to do is pop it in your mouth, kind of chew it like I did with an open mouth, and There you go, guys.
Go
Pop
now?
it in your mouth. And shoot. There you go. Nice.
That's really weird.
Now it's really cold.
Don't spit about me. She's spitting crackers at me.
But it's not so cold that it burns your mouth.
No, it's not that
Science
bad.
zone.
I love
Science
the
zone.
magnet. That's great, Michael.
That is
Isn't
so
that
good.
awesome? It's still
just hovering right
there.
there.
And the moment it warms up, then that magnet will
It'll just kinda
slowly
lower.
drop right back
We're going
down
to show
again.
some information here. What about Science Zone? Is that included in the admission?
It is. All you need to do is come to the museum. When the Science Zone area is open during particular times during that day, you just go on in. You can do some awesome activities. And right now we will be talking about cold, but we'll be talking about a number of other things. The kids have been making snowflakes lately. It's really
And a
an
heads
awesome
up to
experience.
parents looking forward to summer. You have some great camps coming this year, I know.
We have
Yeah.
a whole array of camps. Sky's the limit. You'll be able to send a balloon into space. You'll be able to fly on an aircraft. You'll learn all about rocketry. We have mad scientists. We have
A
so
lot
many
of
You
great
are a
things
mad
to do.
scientist.
I am,
Michael,
I
real
admit
quick,
it.
bit of advice, do not take this home to your
No,
wife.
I don't think she would
Thanks for
appreciate
coming.
that one.
SASmuseum.com.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks,
All right, thanks,
So
guys.
still ahead, Mozart's The Magic Flute from Opera Omaha.
And a good book for Valentine's Day from the man who became
this
an author thanks to his son. I'll talk to Dallas Clayton next.